And we are live.
Hello.
Hey.
Hello, everybody.
Hey. Good evening.
It's nice to be back.
Yes, after so long.
Yeah.
So college brought us together in the 1980s. Oh, let me go live on
Insta.
We are live on Instagram too. Okay, so college brought us together in the 1980s. Adulting scattered us, but we stayed in touch and naturally turned it into podcasting. Us and everybody else. Welcome to the After Curfew Podcast. So each week, one of us drops a surprise topic and the rest of us answer on the fly. And today it is Henny Fair, Jennifer.
Hello, everybody. It's so good to see you guys.
Yes.
Yeah.
So let's introduce ourselves. We've got Tinsley and Barbara and Kim and myself, Jennifer. And like Tinsley said, we met in college and we're all in the same sorority and have stayed in touch off and on, more and less throughout all these decades, but we're thrilled to be back here. And tonight we're going to sit with a line from Maya Angelou. And it's
I've got it ready whenever you're ready.
Okay. Her line is, take them with you when you walk in that room. So Tinsley, play the clip.
Let's roll the clip.
Roll the clip.
All right. We're going to play it. We really are.
Saying, which is, be careful when a naked person offers you a shirt. I mean, if he had something, he'd cover himself first, right? So I like to look at self-love. It is very important that it comes from within, that you have a sense of yourself, so that when you walk into an office, you don't go alone. Bring your people with you. Bring everybody who has loved you with you. Say, Grandma, come on, let's go. Great grandpa, you've been dead all this time. Come on, let's go. I have to go in here and have an interview. Come on, Auntie. Come on, my friends. Come, let's go. And when you walk in, people don't know what it is about you. They can't take their eyes off you. You may not be cute in the given sense. You may not be fashion model size in that particular sense. You may not be any of those things, but they can't take their eyes off you. And they say of you, in this incredible way, which I don't understand, they say, I don't know, but she has charisma. No, what you have is all those people around you. So think of that. Anytime you have anything to do, bring everybody with you that you can remember who has loved you. And then you have that sense of having been paid for. And when you walk in, people will say now, I think you're overqualified. There's an African saying, which is...
That's it.
That's good.
That's sweet.
Yes. So what we're going to talk about tonight, you know, it kind of sounds at first like it's all this confidence, but it's really about all the voices and the lessons and the people and the experiences and the memories that walk in with you when you do things, whether they're easy things or whether they're hard things. And we also, you know, and look at who's not coming with us in the room. Who are we going to leave outside that room because they're not bringing any value going in that room with us? And those are hard things to do through the years, to decide who can and can't go in that room with you anymore. So we're going to sort of go through and talk about the different phases in our lives, which we've done before, and just think about childhood and what rooms did you go in as a child, and what voices or expectations did you have? So think about the first rooms you remember walking into and who walked with you then. Like, I'll start this one just because this is a different type of topic. I think about my first grade. So I mean, I remember church and Vacation Bible School and mission friends and all that, but my first memory really of being afraid walking into a room was in elementary school. And, you know, I rode the bus. but my brother and sister were with me. That was the only time we were all in the same school together, was when in elementary school. And I remember not being quite as afraid, because even though my brother and sister didn't walk in that room with me, they were with me in spirit when I walked in. Their confidence of saying, hey, it's going to be okay, Jennifer. We're here with you. You've got this, you know. And I remember wanting to do a good job in school for my mom and dad. I remember vividly wanting that. And my mom's a teacher, you know, was a teacher. So it felt very comfortable and warm to me going into a classroom. So I had my mom, I had my brother and my sister. Those are kind of the people I can think of. So how about one of y'all? What's one of your early memories of experiences that you had that you sort of had to rely on yourself or your confidence or your people?
I think this is like I don't know, this just popped in my mind, but it's not quite as deep as yours, Jennifer, or whatever. But so my dad was a water person. Like, I mean, we grew up just in the water all the time. He was a Navy guy. And my mom was the opposite. Like, she was scared of the water. She would get in like up, you know, we ended up teaching her later in life. But I don't know if I remember this just because it's like we did it every year. But the memory, I mean, I was a little bitty. Like, I remember just having to get up on the diving board. We were in Panama City. And it was the first time I had jumped off the diving board. And I remember my dad out in the water, you know, treading water and being like, come on, baby, come on, honey. You know, I was zero fear. I mean, it was,
Wow.
you know, and I just remember running. And again, I'm like, really, but it's ingrained in my brain. And we did do those vacations over and over, but just, you know, how kids, just the trust that I had that he was going to catch me, and just no fear. I mean, I'm just like, what a great thing, you know, just to have no fear. And he taught me a lot of things like that in life, but the love of water, you know, it is just transposed, because my mom was the absolute opposite. But she always just deferred to my dad, you know. But that's the memory that I would say that I have initially. Yeah.
Very sweet. Very sweet. Barbara, Tinsley, can y'all remember a memory early on?
I'll just say, when you said walking somewhere, I just think about my home life, the first memories I have, and it was such an open home. It wasn't the kind of place where you can't go in there, and you can't go through my jewelry, or don't touch that. It was sort of okay to look through a drawer, or look through my mom's jewelry box, look in the kitchen cabinets or the refrigerator and not get in trouble. Don't shut that, or, you know, maybe sometimes they might say stay out, but for the most part, it was nice to be little and get to explore at your own house.
Well, Barbara, tell them where you lived. Tell them one of the first places you lived.
Well, we moved to Yosemite National Park when I was about 2. So all of my first memories were in that grandeur, in that beauty. Wow. And so there was a connection to nature and God. And I also, Jennifer, you know, had a big sister. So when I did go to school, it was with that support, which it makes me kind of feel for firstborn children.
Right.
Because that is a huge support, to have a close sister or brother who has been there before, now that you mentioned that. So
Right.
Lots of positives for me as a little kid, and the negative end was because I was shy, so there was a little bit of anxiety almost in any situation, school included, you know, just nervousness.
Right. And I wonder if that's because your home was so comfortable and you did, you may not have experienced any of that at home, and it was,
Yeah.
that you weren't in home. Who knows? But that's
Could
very
be. I
interesting.
think some of it's just a personality type where,
Yeah.
you're just not as outgoing. But the neat thing about that is also you learn how to put yourself out there and feel accepted by different groups of people. So that, honestly, it's one of the nice things about getting older.
Yeah.
Right.
And I said to someone today, in fact, a lady, hitting 40 is amazing because you
Oh,
just are
yeah.
like, oh, fine, think whatever you want.
Exactly.
It's fun. You get more like that anyway.
love
Yeah.
Right. Right. How about you, Tinsley? Who can you remember times where maybe you were taking people with you when you went somewhere when you were younger?
Well, at first I was thinking I'm not going to have anything to say, but then I was thinking of negative things. But then I remembered that the people in my family, my mother, my grandmother, my dad, all did big things. Like it was out of the box stuff. And so
Right.
that's why I am, I guess, so out of the box. I don't think in terms of, there's some funny stuff. Are you seeing these?
Yes. What a mess.
I'm sorry, I'm late for Menopause Anonymous. I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to go ahead and ban that one.
Oh.
Yeah. So I was thinking that, I saw my mom flying planes when I was very little.
Wow.
Saw her showing horses. My grandmother was always way ahead of her time, whatever age she was in. She was born in 1908. So I didn't think in terms of parameters. If I wanted to do it, I didn't think, oh, girls don't do that. I never thought that way. And people will go, oh, you're a feminist. I'm like, huh? That's not, I just like, if you want to do something, you can do it. So that's the way I was taught. Yeah. I wasn't taught that girls had to do this and guys had to do that. It wasn't that. So I guess I guess I could say that. And I also thought, for a while, I thought that the way that us Gen X were raised was wrong, because I would see how people are being raised now and how I guess boomers were raised. Lots of supervision. And I'm thinking now, the way that we didn't have supervision, that was the way to go.
It was.
No, and that is why I think I'm so independent and capable now, because we had to figure it out. Nobody was sitting over us or anything.
Sink or swim. Yeah, sink or swim.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I didn't know how much we were learning from that, how to problem solve. And I mean, you had to figure it out. It was survival. And I kind of wish I'm grateful for that. It'll never happen again, before social media and phones. And it's like, okay, be home at this time, and nobody knew where you were.
Yeah.
It was fun.
Right.
Get into all kinds of stuff.
Oh, yes. Oh, yes. So did any of you have imaginary friends you brought with you in places?
I think I did a little of that. Yeah.
A little. Yeah. Some kids do. I had my oldest daughter had a friend named Miso that would go with her and play with her. And, she was 5 when our second came along. So she had a long time alone. So, but she had Miso with her that she would take with her and do things. So,
That's so cute.
So did yours have a name, Tinsley?
I don't remember that. I think my brother and I would do it, and we'd pretend like, I have a friend here. It wasn't like a regular thing, though, I don't think.
Right.
Mm.
All right. So let's talk about our kind of early adulthood. So do you remember being an early adult, sort of branching out on your own and becoming your own person, maybe becoming aware that your voice hadn't been yours before, that maybe you had been reiterating and maybe regurgitating things you had grown up hearing, and then you realized along the way either you didn't exactly agree with them, or maybe in just a different way, or you were different. Do any of you remember that?
Had to unlearn things.
Yeah. Okay,
Yeah.
Tinsley.
Yeah. There were things I found out later there was a better way. So,
Right.
and everything I learned wasn't exactly the best. Didn't fit me. It was just being put on me. So, having to unlearn some things and learn new ways, which was a
Right.
positive thing. That was a positive thing.
Yeah. And it didn't mean
But
you let them-
learning first that it wasn't right, that was upsetting.
Yes, it's very upsetting. It's, you leave things behind and, we talk about who are you bringing in the room. Well, maybe you're still bringing some of those, but not all of it.
Yeah.
Your mom's
the good
strength
stuff.
and
Yeah.
and her ability to, be an executive at IBM in the 70s and 80s is unheard of. And
With
she was
no
just a
college
boss.
degree.
Right.
Exactly. And just
And
a boss
flying,
woman
flying. Hello.
and
Flying.
flying and
Oh my
all
God.
the things that she did that was just, made it easier for us, Tinsley, as women and in the workforce, all of us.
And that was reiterated to me, even though when I was going through that process, like, oh, this wasn't exactly right, but look at all this, the learning, the business, learning how to, and there was a lot like learning how to be, if you want to do something, you can do it.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And those are invaluable things,
Right.
Yeah. How about you, Kim or Barbara? Do you remember getting your own voice versus and speaking up in rooms that was Barbara or Kim and not your parents?
I do. I remember wanting for people to see me and not see me paired with my sister, and we were very close in age, and she was Marcia and I was Jan Brady.
Oh.
And that seemed like that was gonna always be the case.
Oh no.
It really did.
I can't imagine you being considered Jan Brady.
No.
Although I like Jan Brady, but I know she got a bad rap later.
Well, it was so, in a way, so hard to break out of that I don't think I did until college, which is why in college it was just this world where she wasn't there. For me to be compared to, or for people to ask, are you Anna's sister?
Right.
Yeah.
And you're so beautiful in college. You just walk in the room and everybody knew you, Barbara, and you were so sweet. And you did.
Nobody thought about Anna. Nobody
knew it.
And it was so sort of wonderful, which is why I did not transfer to UGA as I originally planned.
Thank God.
And I'm so glad I didn't, because it took a while for me to just be myself. It's not her fault. But in some ways, I don't think I was ready to be Marcia yet.
Right.
I remember you imitating her, Barbara.
Yes.
My Cume, when she came back from UGA. Oh,
she
my
was
Cume.
so confident. And it's funny because I grew up in California and I was in her shadow at that high school. And then sure enough, at Walton High School, it was like, oh, are you Anna's sister? It's
no.
Same thing there. And she was cute, and it was, in a way, it was fun, but it was, it wasn't me. It was
right.
It was, so I totally get where it can be hard to be your own
shadow.
person, your own person.
Right.
And it was great. It's still great to be my own person.
Right.
Yeah.
How about you, Kim?
I agree with Barb, having siblings, and I'm the youngest, so it definitely they set standards, which very high standards, especially academically.
They did.
Especially what?
Academically.
Okay.
Like Pam, my sister that's right above me, was straight A student, most likely to succeed, and I was like nominated for class clown.
Class clown.
Talk about the opposites, and I made good grades, but I didn't make the grades she made, and she worked hard for them. She deserved everything she got. So that's true too. But the first thing I was thinking is, we grew up, as most of us, in a very religious home, and the rules were very strict. And I remember telling my parents, well, twice in my life, once when I was 16 that I just didn't know if I wanted to go to church anymore. I didn't know if that was really a thing for me. I really wanted into it. And my mom was like, okay, well, that's well and good. You got 30 minutes to either go in your pajamas or to get dressed and go to church. But it's, so
Not optional.
But at 16, that wasn't an adult. So then again, when I graduated from high school, I decided to tell my parents, I don't even know if my sisters know this, that I just felt like I really needed to take a gap year to find myself. And again, the answer was, well, that's all well and good. You can find yourself after college. Right now you're going to college, and you can take a gap year after you're done. Both of my parents came from extreme poverty. My dad was the only one that graduated high school, much less college and law school. And my mom's siblings, she had a couple siblings that went to college. So, but they were both, college was very important to them. So I didn't have a voice of mine for a while. I went off to school to Tennessee my first year because, again, you had to go to Christian school your first year. That was the rule. And then after that, because I did want to go to UGA. But
So did I. I never made it.
Yeah. Barbara, and I'm so glad we didn't. We would have never met each other.
I'm
y'all.
so glad. I'm
my
so
gosh.
glad. Yeah.
And we all loved where we ended,
We
Yes.
did. We did.
So I did get my voice when I got to school because they weren't there. So, but it,
Right.
it didn't take me long.
Right.
I was ready. I was ready.
Mine was a little strange because, like I said, my mom was a teacher and we were in a very small town. And so I was always in my mom's shadow, my brother, my sister, and my mom's, especially in middle school and high school, that they knew her because she was at the same high school for 30 years.
Yeah.
And I was always Jeanette's daughter. I was always Jeanette's daughter. And it was very comforting and sweet. When I walked into those doors at North Cobb, my first day of freshman, I'd been to every teacher work day. Mom drugged me there, and I knew the halls inside and out. I knew how to open lockers, do things. It was not, and I never got my voice until college.
Really?
Never.
Wow.
I never. And then I remember in college, I was in a professor's class, the history professor, who liked to challenge Christian beliefs a lot. And I remember, and my brother was very adamant, and they would fight all the time about different things. And I remember when he went through the roll and he stopped at my name and he looked up at me and he said, "Are you Jeff's sister?" And I looked just like him, and I said, "Yes, but don't hold it against me." So then in that history class, I took my brother, but none of my other classes. I was me and mine, and I decided what I wanted to do. And,
I had the same thing with my brother because he was bad. He behaved badly.
Oh, no.
Yes.
And so they would look at me like, I was a talker, but I wasn't anything, I cared a little bit more what the teacher thought than he did.
Yeah.
And
Right.
I followed the rules, but I always get those looks first day of school. Yeah. Because I was a grade behind them.
Oh gosh, just one grade. Yeah. They didn't, at least I was 4 years behind my brother.
Oh,
They could some memory, turnover and maybe some bad memory. But I remember a side story talking about siblings and all. My husband, Steve, and I met when I was on a date with another boy from Osborne at a pizza place in Smyrna. And we were at Dante's, and we were standing in line, and Steve walked up to me and introduced himself to me. And there was a guy.
You're on a date.
Impressive.
And so we started talking.
Man got what he wanted.
He had always been, he was the fourth of 6 kids. So he had always been Dennis Robert Debbie's old little brother. And then he had a sister, Lugina, and Ann underneath him. And when he introduced himself, I said, "Oh, you're Lugina's brother." Because I knew his sister. He was like, "Oh my God." So
It happens.
it happens to all of us.
It does. So somebody's asking what advice to give to a 24-year-old.
Oh,
What?
well, find your own voice.
Find your own voice.
I think that's it. And
join a sorority at Kennesaw.
You have one. You have a voice. It's there.
Hey,
It is there.
Is she talking about parental advice? Like what?
Well, it just said, I
Yeah.
think she means general advice.
To a
for-
24-year-old, what would you
Uh-huh.
say? Yeah.
Just
So, you know, I mean, I would
find your place.
find your
Find-
place, find
Yeah.
your people, find the
Yeah.
people that
yes.
make
And
you
find
the
some
best.
mentors.
Yeah, but find your people that make you the best version of yourself. And that is what
That's so
the
good.
sorority did for us. We
Yes.
found, we found our friends, and not that we didn't improve and get better, but at least in college, we knew we were supported and loved, and we could call somebody if we were in trouble.
Well,
It
Exactly.
was like a breath
Yeah.
of fresh air to me.
It was.
Meeting all of y'all.
Yeah.
It
But-
really
For me
was.
too. For me too.
24, they may be out of school too.
They may
They
be.
might be out of school, so
Yeah.
just,
Well, know
No,
this.
find your people.
Yeah.
Find your people.
Know this, in your 20s, you should try a lot of different things when it comes
Yeah.
to a career. It doesn't matter how many times you change jobs, you're picking up stuff and learning stuff every
Yeah.
time.
Yeah.
Just learn and keep learning in your 20s, because they kind of set you for, they kind of lay a foundation for all the skills you're going to make.
Well, I
Yeah.
don't know, because this generation doesn't really have the same.
skills.
They don't think that like we were like, let's get a job and stay there, right?
No, that's what I'm saying.
They don't think that way.
No, they don't stay in the same job. That's what I'm saying. It doesn't matter if you change jobs. Keep getting skills. And that's different than what we were told.
exactly. I would say mainly stay positive. Just stay hopeful and positive, no matter what you're
And
trying
true to yourself.
Yes.
True to yourself.
Yep.
And that's hard in today's society when the kids,
Pressure.
they
each
don't
other.
have the
Even
social skills. A lot of them don't have the social skills we did because of social media
Yeah.
and because of
And COVID.
I was just about to say
Right.
because of COVID.
And because, you
Put the phone down.
you put a
As
anti-boredom.
we're on social media
That's it.
right now.
Yeah, you put a boredom device in front of a child, in front of a teenager, so they don't have to get bored and be inconvenient and all the things. So when were they supposed to exactly talk to these people?
Yeah.
It's our fault that we threw our parents threw us in front of the TV or threw us out in the yard for the day until it was time to come home for dinner.
Right.
So we had to interact and we learned funny things, but I think it's not the kids' fault. I think it's the parents' fault for putting the iPads and the phones and the devices in their hands and making them stay, not letting them be bored.
Well, I don't have kids, as you know, but I've asked my fellow Gen Zers, why did you raise your kids with like this, like helicopter parents?
Right.
I was like,
Right.
you weren't raised that way. Why did you do it?
Right.
And
What
they're
did
like,
you say?
Yeah, I'll tell you why, Tinsley. I have a friend here. She's not a friend, but she's a colleague, a business colleague who owns a business that talks to companies throughout the world about the generations and the differences and how you work in the same workplace with all the different generations. And a big thing happened when we got a little older. And that was America's Most Wanted came on, looking for all those children who had been abducted.
Yeah.
Our parents didn't have that,
that's
but
true.
we saw that.
Scary.
And we as parents got terrified that Johnny in the front yard playing with his bicycle was going to be abducted by the creep around
True.
the
I would
corner.
feel the same way.
And
I would.
so that's the difference in
Yeah.
what our
I
parents
didn't think
didn't see
that
that.
America's Most
But
Wanted. I didn't
We
think about
saw
that.
that all
Yeah.
the time. And so
And the milk cartons.
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly. The milk cartons. We saw it. So when we raised our kids, there was no way we were going to tell them, make sure you're just home by sundown. No, we're going to know where you are. We're going to arrange play dates. You're going to be here and there. And so, in keeping and circling it back to our topic tonight,
Yeah.
those kids don't even know how to find, a lot of kids don't know how to find their voices because of that. But I have two amazing kids, 25 and 30. They work hard and they know how to speak up for themselves. And they
Amen.
know what's right and wrong. And so, I feel like there are a lot of kids out there that are that way. and we shouldn't just paint that brush. And I know
No.
Barb, you've got them too, who
No.
who can speak on a lot of different topics and have a lot of conviction. And Kim, you do too.
Yes.
You know, so
So
but let's
how
get
about,
back.
can I ask Barbara and Kim about that same
course.
thing I just asked?
About raising our kids?
Yeah.
You mean? I think mistakes have been made as far as devices and maybe not monitoring that enough. At least for me, that is true. But also, though, I think there's too much hopelessness. So my thing I now say to my adult kids, and I have 5 in their 20s. So this is a very pivotal age for several of my kids. I say, you guys are going to rise up and
Yes.
you guys are going to be great. And I mean that to everybody listening. You guys go. And yes, unplug, learn stuff, get out there, meet people, be bold, don't be afraid. And also, there's a few good trends, Tinsley, like that not bullying. I love
Yeah.
that.
I do
Okay.
too.
There's some good things with, like, say my youngest, who's 16, would not think about calling somebody a name. Just doesn't.
Yeah.
It doesn't.
Yeah.
And so there's freedom in that generation. If you go out there, most people are going to be nice. So go. That's what I
Yes.
say.
Okay.
People, go.
What
Go and
about
do
you,
it.
Kim? Sorry, Jennifer. I wanted to hear what.
No, I
Yeah.
agree with what Barb was saying and what Jen said too. I think we started seeing, the scary part of not being a helicopter parent. And we really tried not to be helicopter parents, but in the back of my mind, because things can happen, and things did happen to me when I was little. So
Yeah, me too.
yeah, so you are always, that's in the back of your mind. Yeah, I mean, almost, it's so shocking. Isn't that shocking? How
Right.
many? And so in the back of my mind, I mean, Rachel had a little friend that she just fell in love with in our neighborhood. And she was being raised mostly by her dad, a single dad. Her mom wasn't there. And they asked her to spend the night all the time. And she was always at our house. And I just could not get past. And that sounds so prejudiced because he was an amazing dad. And she went to birthday parties down there, but I couldn't get past the spend the night thing. A lot of because of my past. But
Right.
I just, remember telling her, because she would just cry. I mean, she was like 6.
Right.
And I'd be like, I know you want to go so bad, but there is just, it would take one thing to go wrong. And I didn't tell her details at that point to forever change you, So but now, I hope that the social media is not terrifying, because I know there's a lot
Me
of,
too.
and there's so much AI out there now that
You don't
it's
know
hard
it.
to decipher.
Most of it's not real that's out there now.
Right.
I read an article not long ago, and they said over 70% of the postings are from AI now. They're not. They're
That
not
is
real.
so terrifying.
I mean, but I have,
So terrifying.
one of the things we talked about last year and what we wanted to bring into this year, and I talked about wanting to put down my stupid phone, and I've read 4 books this year already.
Wow.
I put down my phone and started reading.
Wait, I'm going to go say keep talking. I'm going to show you what I'm doing.
Yes. So, so that's good. So I sort of feel like, and that goes in with our topic, we're finding our voice again and getting away from too much social media. And except, of course, for this amazing podcast where we want you to follow, like, and share.
We do. There's exceptions to all.
Yes. So what are you doing, Kim?
Y'all, this looks like an old lady cross stitch. Do y'all know what this is?
Oh, yes. That's crewel embroidery, right?
No, it's diamond painting.
Oh.
Have y'all ever heard of that? My next door neighbor.
I've seen them in stores.
I haven't done anything like this. And I haven't even, y'all, it's so fun. It's like match the beads to the number. So that's a sidebar.
Yes.
Girl, you go,
That's
girl.
great. Well, that's hearing your voice and getting away from
Yes.
social media.
Yes.
That's hearing your
Using your hands.
Yeah.
And getting away from all the, because I'm so confused what's true and what's not now. So
Yeah.
I'm
Just
to
assume
say,
most of it's not true.
70, Jennifer. That's mind-blowing.
Yes.
Sorry,
So-
we got off topic, Jen.
That's okay. So let's talk about sort of midlife, and talk about where the rooms that we're going into or that we went into sort of in midlife, not where we are now, but where we went, from the after college years to, maybe in the 50 to 50. And what rooms did you go in? And did you carry guilt with you in those rooms? Did you carry ghosts from your past? Did you carry friendships, laughter, whether it's in your church or your business or, a hospital room or a doctor's office, when you walked in these rooms in your, say 30 to 50, was it your voice walking in the room? Was it your spouse? Was it a best friend? Was it just you? What rooms did we go in during, from our 30 to 50s? And who did we take with us? So, I mean, I'll start, give you guys something to think. So I walked in a lot of business rooms during that part of my career. A lot. I was in accounting and finance, and I worked for companies and ran their accounting departments. And then I walked out of that room and walked in to recruiting when my girls were little. And I just decided when my first was little and decided I couldn't work those hours anymore. And I know we've talked about that. And so I had to leave my dad outside the room and walk in and interview for a job as a recruiter where I'd have to do sales and find candidates and do lots of marketing and sales and calls and all the things. And I just remember my dad saying, well, you'll always have accounting to fall back on, where it didn't mean that he wanted me to fail or thought I would fail. But like you said, Kim, my parents grew up in abject poverty. They were not just low class or low, on the lower end of middle class, abject poverty. And the secret, like your parents taught you, Kim, to getting out of that when we were coming up was college, get a degree, get a skill, do something that you can work for the rest of your lives. So that was hard for me walking into that room and having to leave my parents' voice outside that said, and then when I was doing it and I wouldn't feel like I was going to be successful, there were, bad days, I would let those voices back in to that room. And I had to walk them back out the door and shut the door behind them and say, no, you're going to do this. You're going to figure this out, and leaving Atlanta, I walked out, Metro Atlanta, leaving Cobb County after 40 years and leaving you guys, Kim. You remember, I thought my heart was going to break and I was going to die going down. And I went to Gulf Shores where Tinsley was. And, it was so hard to leave that home. And I had to leave my parents' voice out that Atlanta had more opportunity than any place in the world. And you could always find a job and, your family and friends are there. But, I had to sort of leave them. And I took my kids and my husband in the room with me. And we all went together and we made a new life outside of Cobb County, which was, it was huge. Something I thought I'd never do. And, Barbara, you did it. You did it.
Yeah.
So what about your 30s? You were in a lot of labor and delivery rooms in your 30s and 40s. Let's be, you were.
I was going to say, who I took were 7 babies in those years.
Right.
And you go from feeling sort of overworked, but you can feel that way. And sometimes I did, but mostly I felt like a queen.
Oh,
I loved it.
right.
I felt
So it was yours and Richard's voice that you took with you. It wasn't the naysayers saying, stop having so many kids.
Stop having so many babies.
It wasn't. It was just because what you have in exchange for the decision you're making are the beautiful lives, the babies. And it was amazing. I knew it at the time. My husband knew it. And so even though at that time, career wise, it was a struggle at times for my husband, me as a woman, I loved it.
Oh,
I really,
Yes,
that's
you
really
great.
did.
loved it.
Yeah,
So it
you
was
did.
you and Richard and the babies' voices and maybe the
Well,
doctors and nurses.
yeah.
They're you brought them in with you.
I guess so. I
Yeah.
guess so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How about you or Tinsley, you or Kim?
Well, I was going to say, Jennifer, also with
Mm.
your career in that phase, maybe even a little before that, I mean, there weren't a ton of women in
No.
accounting, you know,
That's
and
true.
Barb, every time
Mhm.
Barb and Richard, I remember her, you know, her saying when they would go out to dinner, well, there's, you know, we'll take a table of 11 or whatever.
Right.
You know, people are judgmental. And I think
Yes.
Barb got a lot of that and it rolled right off of her because she's just positive. She
Mm.
also, I think, and Barb, I hope you don't mind me saying this,
Yeah.
but with each baby, I feel like she got a little further along before she tell her parents, you know,
Yeah.
I'm going to get a little bigger before I break it to Roger,
Yeah.
Right.
her dad. But
Yeah.
again, I mean, y'all was definitely your and Richard's voices, and I love that in both of
Yeah.
y'all.
Oh, did your parents push back, Barbara?
Yeah, I did have some pushback about
Oh,
that.
I didn't know that.
One time when I was pregnant with my seventh, I said, "Hey Ryan, my oldest son, why don't you tell Pop?" No, I'm good.
I love it.
So you took Ryan's voice in that room, and
I
you didn't
took
take yours. You
Ryan's
took
voice,
Ryan's.
and so he said, "Hey, Pops, Mom's gonna have a baby," and my dad just said, "Put your mom on the phone." I didn't get out of the discussion at all. I was
Like there's anything you could do about it at that point,
and
right?
I can't, God gave me the grace to just be, Dad, it's going to be great. We feel good about it.
What was his reasoning? Like you're not going to be able to
He
afford
thought,
all these babies, or
yeah, he thought about money. He thought about my health.
He was an accountant.
He wasn't probably just all the concerns.
he was an accountant?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
But honestly, none of it influenced me whatsoever.
It was just your voice and Richard's voice.
And God, probably.
And God,
Yeah.
I mean, God just sort of.
This is my purpose. Hey,
It-
get out of the way.
It felt
Right.
It felt right. Looking back on it, I know that it was.
Right.
And with baby number 10, my dad finally was like, "All right." I mean, he got there.
You're not listening to me.
I love that.
Yeah.
I love that.
Yes. So.
I do too.
Mm.
All right, girls.
Oh,
So we're talking about rooms we went into. Tinsley, between 30 and 50, you went into a lot of condos.
Well,
between-
okay. So you were talking about leaving Atlanta. I never saw myself leaving. I never saw myself not living in a big city because
Right.
even we had lived in some other cities and they were all big. And so my mom moved to Gulf Shores and I was like, what is that? I'd never heard of it. And I came down and it was like, oh, and I still
Paradise.
didn't see myself coming here. It was much smaller at the time.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't have come if my mom hadn't come because I had that safety net,
mhm.
and so, I came here and I guess, and then, making the jump to like what you were saying into real estate, not having that paycheck, that 401k, the insurance. And so, and it was very much a God thing. And I had guidance. I had my mentor and I went into it prayerfully. I followed instructions. I said, this is what I'm thinking. It was fairly scary
That was
stepping off,
smart.
having a regular paycheck. But
Yeah.
because I did it, there was so much more money to make because I've took that chance.
Yeah.
There's no guts, no glory. You don't take the
Yeah.
chance.
Mhm.
Big risk is big return. And
Amen.
and I believe to this day because I went with God
Yeah.
and Mary, so we're going to do this work and we're going to do this prayer and we're going to do and make sure it's not just about money. You know, she
Yeah.
would always say, we're not going to make decisions strictly on money.
That's
And,
cool.
and I believe that's why it worked out.
Yeah.
Yep. That
Yeah.
was a huge jump and leap of faith,
Yeah.
Tinsley. And it paid off for you because it paid off for you because you did the hard things.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
didn't let anyone tell you couldn't do it. You've been a
Right.
lifetime learner. Your whole life you've
And
been
everybody
inquisitive.
says, you know, oh, there's everywhere you go when someone talks about being a realtor, they say the same thing. There's 10,000 realtors, or there's 2,000, whatever your market is. And Scott would say, they're not all working. And that's what I say. They're not all working. Just because
Right.
there's
Good
people in
point.
MLS they're not all working. A lot of them are
Good.
part-time. And it's
Good.
like, you can't go by that. And I would assume it's with any position or any industry,
Yeah.
is you can't let that hold you back if this is what you
Yeah.
want to do.
That's a good point.
And it ended up being just right, you know, because
Yeah.
I think because I went into it prayerfully. You
Right.
can't just,
Yeah.
I didn't just bust in there. I'm going to do this.
Right. Well, Kim, you walked into a door, I want to say in your 30s, that you stayed in those doors for a couple of decades, right?
I don't know, which one are you talking about?
When you went Health-Don.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
went from working just a couple days a couple days a month when my kids were little, to go into work at a bigger firm, and a bigger labor and delivery at home. Not at home. I interviewed
Consulting.
labor and delivery, on the phone,
Yeah.
high risk moms. So yeah, that was a big, but it was that was an easy door, because I think I loved the people I worked with. And same with the hospital. I loved who I work with. I think that's just such a big deal. I think I felt more, judgment during that time with raising kids, because my kids were in Christian school, and it was a hybrid school, so they went 2 days a week, and then they were homeschooled the rest. And so there was a lot of extreme beliefs and views. And
Did they judge you for working at all? Do you think?
no, I wasn't really working much then.
Okay.
I wasn't really working much then.
What
Because
were the extreme?
how or what?
You said extreme beliefs.
What was-
Extreme beliefs, like, your kids shouldn't. Harry Potter was a big thing then.
Oh yeah.
Halloween. Like,
Oh, okay.
I'm not saying those are not things that are legit. A lot of those things, you would let your kids watch, and I'll be like, oh God, they're going to go to school and tell somebody they watched whatever.
Oh, no.
But
Yeah.
I got over that. Also, just feeling like I need to spend my time cleaning my house and having them do chores instead of sitting
Yeah.
down playing games with them. So, but at that
And
time,
whose voice was in that room
Yeah.
telling you need to
Yeah.
change, you need to clean that room?
my mom was very clean.
Right.
So yeah.
I had that too.
Because it was we felt it. I remember looking at my linen closet thinking, I'm the worst human on the face of the earth.
Right.
I've had that.
Disgusting linen closet,
Yeah.
and it's
yeah.
like, that's not a judge of the type of human being you are.
No.
Who cares?
Yeah.
Let's go play outside. Forget the linen closet. The linen closet will be there in 10 years when they're gone to college.
Right.
And I had a fabulous mother, but I never remember her playing a game with me.
Right.
Or, fabulous,
Right.
amazing mom, but I don't remember her sitting down and playing a game. Or,
Right. But and that's from her upbringing. And my mom
Absolutely.
played
My
a few
mom too.
games with us, but mainly it was working all
Right.
the time. It was working. And,
Right.
because they knew where they had come from, and they knew there was, my mom would use the phrase, the wolf is always at the door.
Mm. Oh my
And-
gosh.
Wow.
Yeah, the wolf is always at the door. And when you've been poor and you
Yeah.
knew that you could go off to the poorhouse, or your home could be taken away, or a car or some
Yeah.
livelihood.
What year was your mom born?
38.
That is
So
such a
it was
generation
after the Depression.
Yeah, but her mother was
Yeah.
around during the Depression. Of course,
So she got it from her mom.
Well, talking about my granny, they were in South Georgia. They were farmers. And my granny said, we didn't know when the Depression came or ended.
No.
Wow.
Before and after.
My
Right.
grandmother said they weren't really affected either.
Yeah,
Right.
they did. There was
We're
nothing
already poor.
stock market.
probably.
There was nothing to lose in the stock market.
Exactly.
Our stock were cattle and sheep and
Right.
pigs. So
Right.
yeah, but they were I think Kim, I think, and I know Tinsley, you don't have kids, but I think that we bring our moms in the rooms with us
We do.
when we're talking
much.
about our homes or how we raise our children or whatever.
How do you keep house?
So-
How to
Sometimes
keep
our
house.
weight, you hear your
Your
mom.
weight. Exactly.
Oh, gosh.
Are you
Yeah.
really going to have? I remember Mom telling me one summer, you have another hot dog and you're going to get fat. And she was right, because I was my brother and I were on a hot dog craze, and I could eat as many as he could. And she was right. I got fat that year because I ate so many hot dogs. But we say it differently now.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
know, is that a healthy choice for you? That your 25-year-old self's going to be happy with you making that choice, But but those voices did definitely
They
come in
did.
our heads. And Tinsley, I'm sure you being so bold to change and go into real estate, your mom's voice was in your head because you saw her do the same thing. You saw her be bold and not
Yeah.
be fearful of
Yeah.
making
No,
a
she was
change.
very encouraging with that.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, because
Yeah.
she did the same thing. She left IBM and opened up a business, and
Yeah.
Right.
it was because it's always because you don't do something like that. Well, I haven't found, not in my life, because you're happy with the thing that you're doing. You make the change because otherwise you're just comfortable and you don't make the change.
Yeah.
But it's just like her. She made the change because, well, things happened in her life, and the same with me. The older I got, the less I could put up with bosses and stuff. It all seemed ridiculous after a while. It's like, what a waste of time. They waste so much of your time in corporate America. It's like,
Yeah.
can I just work?
Right.
Why do we have to have all these meetings, and why do I have to give all these reports? I just didn't see the sense in that. And then I was able to take the skills I had learned and just be practical in my own real estate business, and not have to do all that corporate speak and crap.
Right. Right. So that was the sweet voice of your mom in that room with you when you were making
Yeah.
those choices, encouraging you and doing that. That's
Yeah,
great.
she said I could do she always said that. You could do anything you want.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah.
Well, all right.
Even with
so-
children, I said, she goes,
Yeah.
no, it's okay if you don't have any,
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, I love it.
No
I
pressure.
love it. Well, now sort of in fitting with where we are, let's talk about who stays out, who doesn't get invited in the room with us, who do we walk out the door if they come back in our heads?
We talked about this, 2 or 3 weeks ago.
Yeah.
We don't have
Yeah.
to be around everybody.
Right. Right. Like you said, Tinsley, people bring you down, and you
Yeah,
don't want the naysayers and the negative people.
Well, there's balcony people and there's basement people. And there's a book called Balcony People. I don't know if it's a real thin book. It's a good, easy read.
Uh-huh.
The balcony people pull you up, and the basement people bring you down. And so if you've ever noticed, so you're around certain people, you have to work really hard at bringing yourself back up. Those are the basement people, and everybody's got them. So the important thing is to remember that you're the average of the 5 people that you hang out with, and to keep it balanced. Like there's
Right.
some people like, oh, I need to help this person, but it can be it can really pull you down.
Mhm.
So you have to make sure you're taking care of yourself by counteracting that.
Right. Right.
And-
Exactly.
And Mary
Exactly.
said to me once, have you ever noticed that you eat more than with some people? Like you have to eat a lot, but like if you're going to the Mexican, you eat all the chips or you eat all the bread. And I started being a little more conscious of who I was with. If I had to eat all the bread to be with somebody, she said, that's probably an emotionally unavailable person.
Mm.
And I
Wow.
started to become a little more self-aware of the company I was keeping, because
Wow.
I was trying to be sober, and
Yeah.
it was
Right.
important. It was life
Yeah.
and death.
Right.
Right.
And so I
Right.
noticed I didn't know that you didn't have to be around everybody.
Yeah. Yeah. Right. You were always taught to be polite. And sometimes you can still be polite, but not have people in the room with you. You're
You
not
can say
invited.
no and go, I really don't want to go.
Right. Right. Well, we've got about 5 minutes left. So I want to talk about the good stuff. And let's talk about, when we walk in a room today, other than our eyeglasses and Kleenex and phones, who walks in with us? What do we bring in our room? And I'm going to start again, just since I've had a chance to reflect on this and think about it this week. Since we went down to see Tinsley in September, I have thought about you girls. Now, Barbara and Kim and I and another good friend of ours, Kim, have stayed in touch and seen each other and gone to trips or so forth throughout the years. Of course, less frequently as life gets busy. But I've thought about you girls so much since we started this podcast. And you girls come with me in rooms a lot. A lot of you come in the den with me at nighttime when I'm thinking about things, and during the day when I hear something funny and it reminds me of, you, Barbara, saying in the middle of the student center when I said I was hungry, and you're like, "Well, I got a cheeseburger in my purse," and just the sweet, sweet memories. And Kim telling me when my daughter told her she hadn't seen one of the movies that. I don't remember if it was We Are the Titans, what movie it was, Kim, but I remember you talking to me and you're like, I can't believe you didn't let, show your daughter
She's
that.
upside down.
And so I just think about you guys a lot. So, I mean, I bring other people with me, but I just wanted to tell you guys that I bring you a lot since we've started this. I think of you guys often.
Oh, good.
Oh,
Thank you.
Yeah. So,
Yeah,
but there
I
are
look
others
forward to
that come
this.
in. So who comes in your rooms? Who goes with you now from your past or your present, of course?
Well, I'm going to definitely my friends that I love, you guys, and my sisters I love, and my mama who's still around and doing well. But I said a few things about my dad, but lately I have to say that my dad's standard, that he didn't talk about a standard, that you could see it on his face. When I was at college, I lived at home, and you could tell how did you do on that paper? How did you do on that test? How are your grades? Not in a pressure way, but you could tell it mattered. If you were doing your work, your character mattered. If you were honest, it mattered. And I can feel that that's how I want to be with my kids now. And I'm not shying away from it. I'm not afraid to say, do better. You're
Right.
there to do this. And that it's from my dad.
I love
And
that.
I'm
So
so
Roger's in the
grateful.
room with you.
Roger's
That's
in the room.
wonderful.
Yeah.
That's wonderful.
Yep.
How about you, Tinsley? Who was in the boat with you? Who was in that room when you decided to head out
Yeah.
besides your beautiful kitties?
Yeah.
Well, that's tough for me to answer. because
Okay, don't answer.
I've had a lot of loneliness. So
you want a minute, Tins, or you
Yeah,
can skip
yeah,
it. You
go
can
ahead.
skip it. You
Okay.
can skip it.
Yeah, you don't have to answer every question. How about you, Kim?
I mean, I like everything y'all said, but the very first thing this is so cliche. I was going to say Jesus, because
Yeah.
right now I'm
Cliche.
Yeah.
just having a lot of hard time right now, some difficulty. So,
He's always there.
yeah, he's got, and I think of y'all all the time too, Jen. So, especially the fun, just laughter, and I've thought a lot about Tinsley this week because I know she's been on land. She has her sea legs are in Miami right now, waiting to cross over the Bahamas. But I've thought about you a lot, Tinsley, this week. I know we all have.
Thank you.
Just glad for you for having the change. So it's so cool that God brings those moments, Jennifer.
Right.
Barb and Tins, that we remember each other, and we remember. I think a lot about the weekend at Tinsley's.
Right.
Where we really kind of started the journey all together again, which I love.
It's true.
So there's,
I mean, there's sad moments and there's stressful moments, but what I think is going to happen in 2026, I think there's going to be a lot more fun moments. We're going to
Yeah.
purpose for that,
Yeah.
tunes, and sort of stay or try to, with Jesus's help, just staying grounded and hopeful, and knowing you can reach out to people, and that goes for everyone listening.
Yes.
To reach out. Don't just be alone and sad. If there's someone you can call or text, and
Right.
yeah,
Right.
yeah,
Right. And so just to kind of, to wrap up a little bit, we're going to take these folks with us in our room. We're going to leave some out. We're going to bring part of them in with us. And at this age that we're at now, girls, we don't have to go in any rooms we don't want to go to.
That's
Ooh.
I
right.
mean, but
You
outside
said
of
it.
medical stuff, but we don't have to go to those rooms that we don't
Okay.
want to go to. And so
Okay.
that's a beautiful thing about getting older. And
Yeah.
if we have to go in rooms that we don't want to go, we've got each other to say, hey, I need you up here and meet me in the parking lot at this time because I got to go in this room and I can't go alone.
Yeah.
So we have each other, and everybody's got, somebody they can reach out to and say, Tinsley, I know you have a network of people around you who love Scott, and, and you've got us, and you can reach out and say, hey,
I need all of you.
I need all, and we're going to come into the rooms in the Bahamas, hopefully in
Oh,
March.
good.
See you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Going to
We wanna
those
do
rooms,
that. Yeah.
together, holding hands and laughing and cutting up. And Jessica's going to join us.
Oh, good.
Oh,
Yes, I forgot
wow.
about that.
Awesome.
Yes. So thank you, girls. And
That was
I
fun.
appreciate this.
Good topic, Jennifer.
Yeah. Thank you,
Thank you.
Jen.
Thank
Thank
you.
you, Jennifer.
About.
I love that clip. Y'all, when you need it, look at it again. It's
was
such
a
an
sweet-
inspiration to me.
Yeah, I like that
So,
too.
Love
all
it.
right.
So with that, we'll say thank you for joining us. Probably more. We had a few people, but we'll have more in the replays. So
Yeah.
with that, we'll say see you next week. We'll be here still chatting after curfew.
Bye-bye.